All right. What's up, Chris? How's it going? Welcome
Hello, Jay.
to
Long time no speak.
the live stream. I was caught a little bit off guard then. I've got a preview window going up, and I think the audio is coming out twice or something.
Exciting. Daunting.
No.
The daunting world of live streams.
Oh, live streams every time, man. Anyway, welcome. So welcome to the live stream, everyone who's joined, and welcome Chris from abroad in Japan. This is a collaboration that's kind of been in discussion for quite a while. I was supposed to go to Japan last year and meet up and do some stuff, and that whole trip got cancelled, along with the rest of the year. That all kind of got cancelled and delayed and postponed. But we're here now, and we are good to chat. So I'm just going to double check that everything's running smoothly. So looking in the chat, seems like people can see things. My stream is saying the bitrate is lower than recommended, but it's pretty high. So I think we can just go with it. I think it all looks good.
Awesome.
Anyway, so for those of you who don't know Chris from my channel, I mean, first of all, where have you been? It would be a little bit of a shock if you don't know Chris. So Chris, you run probably the biggest English-speaking channel about Japan. Would you say that's right? About YouTube?
I don't know if it's the biggest. It's a poison chalice. Always say you're the biggest one, because then someone will be like, "Well, XYZ's better," and it's just like, I'm done. But like, yeah, one of the biggest. One of the biggest is the safer option. One of the biggest channels about Japan. I guess it's abroad in Japan, so I can't do much else apart from make videos about Japan. But it's been a good 9 years, and it's coming up to the 9-year anniversary in August next month. So yeah, it's been a crazy few years. And I haven't seen you in a while though, Joe, right? I mean, as you mentioned, we were going to hang out, I think, April last year or something. And I was really looking forward to it, actually, because I've only met you once, and it was a really brief, slightly awkward interaction. You were ushered into a room. Someone was like, "This is Joe, this is Joe." And I was like, "Yeah, it's good." And then you were sort of ushered into another room, and that was like my dealings with Joe Allam in about 4 seconds. So
it's like the equivalent of a push notification. You just swipe away. It's there and gone.
Yeah, it's a shame. But and then after that, I sort of started watching your videos and getting into photography and filmmaking. And your channel was one that I turned to quite a lot. And because we used the same camera at the time, I think the D.A.H. right, and Panasonic.
That's right. Yeah.
Before you betrayed us and moved to Fuji film, but and I turned my back on Panasonic and moved to Sony. So the world has changed a lot since the pandemic.
That's actually quite an interesting story that perhaps we can actually start there with things, because you messaged me, this was probably about maybe a year ago now, I think. Over the summer of last year, I was playing a lot with the Panasonic S1H, and you were keen to sort of like get my thoughts on it and stuff. You ended up, you did? I thought you got rid of it and switched over.
See, I haven't got rid of it. I actually film all the videos I do indoors. I film with this, where I don't need to use the autofocus, because this camera is perfect as long as you take autofocus out of the equation, because it just doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
So when I'm out and about doing stuff, I use these days I use the Sony A1, which is amazing autofocus, great run and gun camera. But I do still use the Panasonic, and I think it's a fantastic camera. I just wish someone in a room in Panasonic would go, "Wait a minute, the autofocus doesn't work. Let's start listening to people and change it." But they don't listen, and they're fucked now. So come on, Panasonic, get it together. Make a camera that has a good autofocus.
It's so frustrating, isn't it? Yeah,
it is. It really is.
The way that I look at the Panasonic cameras is the picture quality and just the controls of them. Technically, they are all superb. Like it's a very technically correct camera. But sometimes I find that it sometimes lacks a little bit of character on things. And character comes from flaws about stuff. And so the character of Panasonic is that the autofocus is bad.
It's not a good flaw to have. Other
No,
than that, yeah,
definitely
it's
not.
good. It's very heavy though. It's like the weight of a small child, and
Hmm.
running around filming with this outdoors is not overly practical. It's got a beautiful image though. The 5.9K, the color science is pretty good, but it's just very heavy. And yeah, it's a great in studio camera though, or for
Hmm.
narrative stuff.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I love it.
Um,
I do love it.
so the content on your channel, it traverses a wide variety of things. At times, people may think of your channel as just being like an entertainment piece, where you've got vlogs and challenge videos and all sorts of other things. But then throughout the year, you post these epic series of like truly episodic content. Um,
Mm.
how has your journey been like discovering and falling into that route?
Um, well, I mean, it's a difficult thing as a YouTuber. Like after doing this 8 or 9 years, you kind of know what videos inherently do well. You kind of get a feel for what people want to see. And it's often not the sort of videos that I like to make. For example, one of the videos I'm most proud of this year was a guy. Well, I can't remember the title. It was something like "The Man That Explores Japan's Abandoned Buildings," and it was shot with the Sony A1 8K, and I had a great time producing that, but it didn't do well. And there it is. There it is. Look at that shot. I love that bloody mountain and the
This is all shot
mining
in
towns.
8K, right?
This is although this was actually shot in the Mavic 2 Pro, so it only shoots
Nice.
4K, but because it's a 10-bit image,
Hmm.
you could kind of upscale it and it still works. And to be honest, if you can spot the difference between 4K and 8K, I will give you a biscuit because it's bloody difficult unless you zoom in like 200%. Like you really have to be quite weird about it. But yeah, I love this video. I was so passionate about doing this, but then nobody watched it, and I was like, oh, fuck, damn it, god damn. And so that happens quite a lot. Videos that I'm most proud of are the ones that don't do that well. I think I did the Fukushima documentary that didn't do very well at the time,
Hmm.
and a few other documentaries. And it's you have to sort of balance it out. You make the videos that you're not overly excited about to fund the ones that you are, right? So
Yeah.
I did a video called 12 Reasons Not to Move to Japan a month ago, and I didn't really. I'm not going to look back and go, "Ah, oh, so much fun filming that in a room for 2 days." I'm not going to think about that, but like that, the views and the traffic from that funds the things that I'm passionate about, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's a tough thing though, balancing that, getting that balancing right. And I'm sure you found that as well over the years, right?
Yeah,
As a YouTube
definitely.
creator yourself.
I mean, that notion of thought always comes back to one of my favorite quotes from Walt Disney, which is, "We don't make movies to make money. We make money to make more movies." And
It's a really
that
good. That's a really good
just
point.
has so much balance of, and that is exactly what these streams are all about. So, Art in the Heart is about discussing the creativity and the passions of the things that you want to create. Um, Not that we ever find ourselves in positions where we have to create things, but it's just doing
Mm,
things regardless of how it's seen outward. It's because you have this inward desire of, I just want to make something. I just want to make art and I want to put it out. And I can see that in your channel, in things like the abandoned building documentary and your Shinjuku night stuff as well. Um,
mm. I think yeah, it's just what you said a minute ago about making videos you don't want to have to make. I can't remember how would you phrase it, like being. I mean, when I became a full-time YouTuber, unfortunately, I did have to do videos that I wasn't overly keen on, some sort of sponsored stuff and whatnot. But like, yeah, it's good to finally be at a point where I don't have to worry about that, and I can
mhm,
do what I want. And I've always wanted to be a filmmaker. I'm very passionate about cinematography, and I I'm constantly trying to learn new things about cinematography and lighting and cameras. And it's been a
mm,
really productive 2 years when I'm not filming things. And it's really fun to go out, learn a new technique, and then go and use it and produce a video like the Shinjuku one you just mentioned. I love filming night stuff. I'm a big fan of Blade Runner, cyberpunk genre in general, and Shinjuku personifies all of that
yeah.
beautifully when you go down there with a camera. So, yeah, I feel very lucky to be at the point now where I can make things that I want to make, and I'm currently knee deep in a series called Journey Across Japan: The Lost Islands, and
Hmm.
that's something I'm very passionate about. It's just exploring bits of Kyushu that are kind of unique and exciting, and this is a video that's coming out hopefully tonight, if it all goes smoothly, which it never does. That's Gunkanjima Battleship Island. That's Ikishima. That's Mount Aso. So I tried to really push myself as a cinematographer on this series, and it's great when people say you know, when people message you and say, "Oh, I love that shot, the way you did that," and they sort of notice the things you do and the effort you put into it, that's always
Mm.
really kind of rewarding.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
but
Well, I mean the quality level. So Journey Across Japan, the first series, I think that was when I like really took note of your channel and started watching, um, you
mm,
know, religiously when you uploaded. And the uh, the the whole narrative of that. So I didn't realize until I think it was yesterday when I looked back on it. I think you made 29 episodes in the first series. That's a
yeah,
mammoth
it
task.
was it was bonkers. 28, 29 episodes, and like we filmed that every day. We filmed it over a 46-day period, and some of those days are sort of blended into one video, right? But it was a suicide mission. I don't know what I was thinking. Like I was cycling from Yamagata to Kagoshima, which is 2,000 kilometers, and trying to make a video every single day, right? And the original plan was to somehow get them up a day later after I'd filmed it, right?
Right.
But I don't know how that's physically possible. Even if I'd had editors and I was editing it myself because
Yeah.
I'm an idiot, an absolute control freak idiot. So looking back at it now, I, for like the whole year after that, I was dead. I was wiped out, and my enthusiasm for life dropped off a cliff. But looking back at it now, it's a series I'm very proud of, and it was a real adventure. You know, something I'm very proud of, and I look back very fondly and have lots of great memories. Even if I look like a wreck by the end of it. Um, that's why the more recent journey across Japan has been a lot more fun because there's no bicycles. I've banned bicycles. Never again will I sit on a bicycle in a video,
Well, I
except in
mean,
tonight's episode. Actually, forgot about
as
that.
a viewer, like I know you put yourself through hell on the fitness side of things and just the I mean, even just filming, regardless of riding a bike, like filming for that a length of time is just
Mm.
so exhausting and there's a lot that goes on
Oh
with it.
God, yeah.
But then you've also
Well,
added in a social element where you've brought other people along the journey. There's there's that aspect as well that there's energy required on hanging out with people and not that people are draining but you need your
no, they
time to
are.
yourself at times and it came out amazingly like hats off to you hugely and then you can see as well so this
Thank you.
what we're seeing on the screen right now this is Journey Across Japan 1. This is actually from my favorite episode where you're going
Oh,
across
really?
the
This was
is it
the
like
scenery. This is the
7
best scenery in Japan.
bridges.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane scenery. And then yeah, the quality shift as we jump up from there into the third one is massive. So you can see that. I mean, this is like what a year and a half difference in
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
editing time. I mean, 2020 was a crazy year for cameras anyway. But you can just see
absolutely. Yeah.
the way that things have developed and grown between
Well, I
those is
mean,
massively.
the original Journey Across Japan was all shot on a Panasonic GH5,
Hmm.
and then I upgraded to a full frame camera, the S1H for
Yep.
Journey Across Japan to Escape to Fuji, and then finally upgraded again to Sony for the third series. So I don't think I'll be upgrading again for a while. But that leap
Yeah.
from that leap to going to a full frame sensor really changed the game and really
Hmm.
upped the production quality quite a lot in terms of image quality and
Mm.
video quality. I think. Yeah.
And then in terms of the narrative, so how are you on the planning of things and the sort of logistics? Is that something that you're also a bit of a control freak about, or because I know you work with Tokyo Creative and other people as well along the way?
Yeah, I mean, the original Journey Across Japan wasn't scripted at all. There's only two things really that we ever plan, and that is the start and end point, aka the hotels we choose to stay at. Because in Japan,
Yep.
it's quite difficult. For those
Mm.
of you watch it, come Japan, always try and book your hotels in advance because they do get booked and it's a nightmare. But yeah, in the original Journey Across Japan, that was the only thing really, and the guests as well.
Yep.
As to what happened in each day, it was very much unscripted, unplanned, which is what annoyed me at some point during the series. I got quite a few comments from people saying this feels too scripted. It's like what's scripted? Nothing was scripted. It was just mayhem.
Yeah.
The second two, we did think about the locations a bit more in advance because you only have a very finite amount of time, right? You know, like 5 or 6 days to produce a
Mm.
series. You want to make sure you get the best locations you can, especially on the most recent one, Lost Islands, where we've going around Kyushu, 3 different islands. We've got 5 people, myself, my good friend Natsuki, Joey the anime man, and then Ian the producer and Norm the assistant camera guy. And so I can't. It doesn't make sense to just sort of make things up on the day.
Yeah.
We have
Bit
some
more
variables like
responsibility and
the daily challenge. Yeah, so the daily challenge that we get is a variable that is undetermined until the day. The
Hmm.
producer Ian goes through the list of challenges that everyone sent in, picks out three, and then we kind of choose one of them. We sort of turn this capsule thing
Yeah.
toy and pick it out. And but yeah, like it's cool to have that balance. You got to get the balance right. It's got to be spontaneous and unscripted, but it's also got to be planned a bit in advance. Like most
Yeah.
people are unaware that every TV show they watch is like meticulously planned, and a
Mm.
lot of it is about hiding that fact, you know.
Yeah.
But most people don't know that. They don't realize that it's heavily planned and choreographed, right?
Yeah, I
For
mean,
TV.
even like an actual documentary, like a full length documentary. So I had the pleasure of being in a Discovery documentary a few years back, and seeing that was so eye opening because again, that was made on GH5 and equipment that I had, and I was like
Mm.
seeing this team, a very nimble team of about two camera people, one audio guy, and a producer, and I was thinking, this is very achievable. This is possible. I could do
Yeah.
this. Um, and the thing that really sort of like stood out to me was that not that the narrative was set, but there was definitely a storyboarding aspect of like, okay, so we're going to plan this journey
Mm.
from here to here, and we need to capture this scene that is going to take up 40 seconds of the production. So it's like, how can you summarize your experience in those 40 seconds? And it's making sure that you set those plans of like anything you do say to camera, bearing in mind you've only got your 40 seconds to do it. Um, and yeah, it was amazing just being on the sort of behind the scenes aspect, but also in front of camera, but not having to rely on doing the camera work.
Yeah, yeah.
Really got the overall sort of like view of things. And yeah, it feels very achievable. And I guess if you're
Oh,
making
absolutely.
the documentaries that you're doing, I imagine you probably always look at them. And you're like, oh, this is how I could do it better. This is how I could change things. Where do you see your stuff going in the next like year or two? Because I know you've always had plans of going into documentary filmmaking and things.
Yeah, I'd like to do some more mini documentaries. I've got a video I'm working on about the Nagakin capsule building or tower. I don't know if you know, in Tokyo, the
Is that
most
the
one of the most
stackable one?
iconic buildings. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's meeting its demise finally next year.
Oh no.
So hopefully you're able to come and see it before it does disappear. To all
Yeah.
of you guys watching, I highly recommend seeing it in person. Incredible building, Nagakin Capsule Tower. So I'm going to try and document that and film that while I can. I've
Hmm.
always wanted to go in there, so I'm very excited about that. Um, but yeah, I haven't really thought too far ahead. I know the thing I want to do is actually produce like a short film and a feature film, because that feels like the next logical challenge. I'm confident I could pull off a good documentary
Hmm.
if I wanted to. Like if I wanted to do a documentary, I could probably produce one. But I feel like I want to really challenge myself and produce sort of a short film.
Mm.
Um, and that's going to take a lot of different skill sets and a
So,
lot of
so
learning
is in like
again, right, to be able to do that.
a fictional narrative short film or
Yes,
yeah.
yes, yeah, short film, narrative, fiction, to hopefully submit to like a film festival and whatnot. Like
Oh
my dream
nice.
would be to try and produce an actual film one day, like a serious Hollywood film,
Mm.
which seems almost, it's one of those dreams that seems quite far off, but I think it could be achievable. I actually think it could be doable, and I want to
W-
try. I want to try and do it, because I feel like that would be quite fun. But
Yeah, and
yeah,
I'm
very
a
daunting. Very
I'm a
daunting.
firm believer in manifesting your thoughts and ideas. If you
Mm,
think long and hard enough about the things that you want to achieve, you can sort of, wish your way to make it happen. And if things don't
absolutely.
happen, it's just because it's not ready yet. It will happen at some point. It just yeah, it will
Absolutely.
come along.
I mean, I always write my 3 year goals on like a big piece of A3 paper and stick it above me. And I've done that since I think I was 19 or 20.
Right.
One of the, you know, back then it was like go to Japan on the jet program. Then after that, it was get 1 million subscribers. And then now it's make a film. So yeah, I think it's a really good point. I don't talk a lot about my self motivation stuff that I do behind the scenes. It's almost a little bit
Mm.
out of character, but there is always a strategy. The reason Abroad Japan is as big as it is I have planned ahead and I have thought, what do I need to do to get to that point? So if my 2 year aim is to make a Hollywood film, which seems laughable at this point, and certainly
Yeah.
as a British person, you're not allowed to have dreams. If you have a
Yeah.
dream, you're like, fuck off and make the tea. Go and make the tea. And like, so as a British person, it's always hard to have dreams and then talk about them publicly. But
Yeah.
I have an aim to make a film within the next sort of 18 months, 2 years, And then I asked myself, what do I need for that? What's the team that I need? What's the story that I need? What kind of story could I produce that could actually be critically well received and also actually make money?
Mm.
Because it's not hard, it's not easy to get the balance right. So
Yeah.
it's all about, once you've got your goal, no matter what it is in life, it's quite easy to sort of reverse engineer it. As long as you give yourself 2 to 3 years, it's
Yeah.
doable. The problem is if you have a dream and you're like, right, I'm going to be an astronaut next year, let's go, then it's not going to happen. You need to be
Yeah.
realistic with your goals. So, straight after this, ladies and gentlemen, go and write a goal on a bit of paper for 3 years and stick it on your wall. And it may well come true if you look and reflect on it every single day,
Yeah.
because that's kind of worked for me over the last 8, 9 years.
Set yourself a calendar invite for 5 years' time of something, asking
Yeah,
yourself a question. I've done that in the past,
absolutely.
and I can't actually remember where I set a date. I remember this was when iCloud first came out, like, and I set up a whole calendar syncing thing. And just as a joke, I set a calendar event like way in the future. Um, I don't know if it's ever actually come true, this event. I may have done it like 20, 30 years ahead or something. I could probably have a look in my calendar and see what upcoming events I've got, and just really scroll ahead. But then that's kind of cheating. So
That's cheating.
I've,
You can't
I've
do
probably got a surprise coming at some point. I don't know when.
that. Sounds quite
um,
ominous.
yeah, definitely. So just going back to your channel and the way that things have grown. So you've been at this game for like what, 8, 9 years, you mentioned, coming up this August.
Mm. Yeah, since August 2012. Although I kind of started only going full time in late 2015. So the first three
Right.
years, it was like one video a month, if that.
Yeah.
It's more like an experimental phase and to slowly build a brand. But yeah, I'd say 2012 August.
Because there wasn't really anyone doing this type of content about Japan. So you sort of like found a mark, and then you've also created a bit of a culture of response videos to your videos. How has that been with
Yeah.
of seeing the way that people react to your work, and like do you ever let that sort of dictate what
Um,
direction you're taking your content and things?
No, not really. I mean, going back to first of all the creators in Japan. When I moved here, yeah, there wasn't that many channels about Japan, or certainly not what I wanted to particularly watch. It was very much personal vlogs,
Yeah.
and it didn't really show the country the way I wanted it to, and there wasn't much production value. This is 2012; it was still early days for YouTube, so I thought, oh, there's a gap there. I like filmmaking. Maybe I can use my time in Japan to actually produce something and take my old hobby and turn it into something.
Mm.
And I didn't really think it would work, but eventually it seemed to do that because there wasn't that many channels showcasing Japan. I've been lucky that Japan is so popular as a country. Really,
Hmm.
I just created the content that about the country that people are interested in. Um, what was the second question? Oh, responses. I mean, yeah, last year I made a video many years ago called 12 Things Not to Do in Japan. It's a very I'm not a big fan of that video, but it's the most successful abroad in Japan video ever. I think
I
12
think a
million
lot of
views or
channels have this
something. And
scenario.
yeah, it's not like I'm not proud of it, but it's done very well. And
Yeah.
a lot of Japanese YouTubers decided to sort of critique it and give their thoughts on it, and they're all very nice about it, to be fair. But it was like this domino effect where a few people did it and then everyone did it. And I think at one point I counted something like 80 reaction videos to that video, and it got it was getting silly. So
Yeah.
that was when I decided that I would react to them reacting to me reacting to Japan, which is a clusterfuck of a title, but like it's real confusing stuff. But it was quite fun, and they all took it well. I try not to be mean to them. I try not to be disparaging. I know they meant well, but
Yeah.
well, and of course, many of them just wanted to make lots of views because the topic was quite popular. But I'm not a fan of reaction content
Hmm.
necessarily, unless you can add some sort of educational component. And to be fair, a lot of them did, but
Yeah.
yeah, I was scared at the time. I thought it might play out bad. This YouTuber with 2 million subscribers is being mean to other YouTubers and all this stuff. But everyone was very positive about it, and it was quite fun. And I even featured the main guy in it who kicked off the whole trend. He was very kind to come on, old George Japan. So
Yeah.
it turned out all right.
Yeah. Well, I think there's potential that you could be very misunderstood with the cynical narrative on
Yeah.
things and the
Yes.
sarcasm. It doesn't always translate well across things. But I think one of the aspects that you do so well is your comical timing of the narrative on things, the way that it sort of injects itself, your personality into the videos, alongside a lot of the factual aspect. So, for example, when you're doing, episodes like this, which is Most Expensive Bullet Train. So it's a
Mm.
very factual and a great piece with Ryoto there as well. Um,
Oh God.
and there's a lot of good narrative and information, but there's also that injection of Chris Broad and your personality on things.
Mm.
Um, it comes
Mm.
across really well. I hope people don't misunderstand that too much. Like with your other recent one of why do you live in Japan?
Oh God, yeah. I think the ultimate holy grail of content is if you can balance entertainment with education. It's quite easy to do educational content, right? I could stand on that platform and be like, this is a train. It's going to Sendai. It's going to take 90 minutes and travel at 320 kilometers per hour. It's going to be very fun. Let's go. Well, like, it's easy to do that. The hard thing is to do comedy or to be funny or to try and entertain people. And it's much more rewarding to get that balance because people will come back and it will do wonders for your brand if you can inject your personality and if you can make things a bit light-hearted and not too
Mm,
serious. Like TV historically has always been quite a serious medium. If you'd watch this in British TV, there'd be a stuffy old man going, "The Japanese have a bullet train that can travel faster than any British train, and that can go really quick, and it's really not," and it'd just be shit. And
yeah,
so it's nice to sort of inject a bit of humor into it, not take it too seriously, but still be educational. If you can get that balance right, then you've won. And I think
yeah,
when I was younger, I wanted to be like a comedian. I'm not funny enough to be a comedian. I think that's apparently clear, but I like to think I could still resurrect a few of those dreams and still make it more engaging. But
yeah.
yeah, I think it's all about authenticity, though. Like, try and be yourself on camera. You don't have to necessarily be funny, but try and
Mhm.
be yourself, and people will feel like they're watching, their friend or someone they know, and that's going to help your brand as well, right? So it's a win-win.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, the balance of things, but then also a balance across the channel. I've got a clip here that is potentially, I don't know if this is you being more than yourself. Um, so
God.
what do you think of this type of stuff?
8 years living in Japan, it's sort of building up to this moment right
Oh, I don't know
here.
if the audio is coming through on
Every
that.
single Japanese convenience
so-
store fried chicken reviews once
Eating
and
all of
for
the
all. God
fried
help
chicken
us all.
varieties
This is gonna be
in
intense.
Japan. So content like that, how does that fit into the balance of, matching that up against things like Journey Across Japan, which is, a documentary piece, high quality production value,
Mm.
and then all the chicken you can find. Do you find you have a separation of audience, or do people enjoy them both?
Well, the first thing I'll say is there seems to be a crackle on the audio, and it's still there. I don't know if it's related to the KFC thing. Is that
Oh.
only me that can hear it? Have I gone mental?
Just- I don't know. How about now?
Yeah, it's still there. Hopefully
Still there?
no one can hear it. Oh,
Don't know. Let's
audio
double
is
check in
as
there.
crisp as the chicken. Deep fried audio. Audio is yeah. I'm sorry. There seems to be some sort of audio issue there.
Okay, let
But,
me. If you can hear me, fine.
I can hear you, but
If
it's
it's coming
yeah.
out bad.
I know the viewers seem to be commenting on it. So luckily,
All
it's
right,
not
all right.
just
Let me
You've
fix.
gone mad.
Hold on. Do-do-do. So we are live.
KFC is hacking the audio apparently.
Let's do
Oh.
this.
It's gone. It's gone.
How about now? Is that better?
Back. That's back. Oh no no no.
No. Okay. How about now?
Gone.
Gone.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. How'd you do that?
Uh,
Miracle.
so. Oh no.
Oh, that's better. As I said at the start, live streams are always daunting, ladies and gentlemen. Joey's a braver man than I'll ever be.
I'm wondering. I think the audio is still bad on the stream. I've just turned it off there. I turned it off there.
Huh.
Oh no! Oh
Come
no!
up
Oh
on there,
no!
then.
What's going on? What's going on? Why does this happen? Right, I'm
Fried
gonna.
chicken, KFC. What have you done to us? Good
Okay.
thing is,
I've turned my interface off.
it's fixed.
It's fixed. It's good. All right. Oh, sorry about that. Chicken broke the internet.
Okay. God damn it.
All right. I thought something was
no.
up because I couldn't hear the audio for the chicken.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The
Very weird. Very
The
weird.
daunting world of live streams, but it's all good.
I've
Yeah, I
never
mean
seen the
that.
chat move this fast. Man, you've got some chicken fans.
KFC does that. Yeah, that was a very regretful video to produce, to be honest. Don't eat all the fried chicken in Japan. Like for the next week after that, I just felt absolutely dreadful. It wasn't fun, and yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. I was sitting. Whenever I sit in this chair now in this room where we filmed it, I just have like flashbacks to it, like a battle, like war crimes. So it's yeah. It's
Have you
awful.
eaten chicken since?
Yes, yes, I have. Fortunately.
So those types of videos, are they ones that you kind of plan ahead, or do you just kind of have an idea, a week before or even the night before? You're like, you know what, let's just eat all the chicken, or egg sandwiches. They're great in Japan. What type of mindset goes through with planning those things?
I think you just kind of know what's going to do well, right? And I think in that case, I piggybacked off of my friend Connor's concept where he tries to eat everything and drink everything in Japan. So I kind of nicked his concept, but he was in it, so it's all right.
Yeah.
But again, it's just one of those things, isn't it? You kind of know that's going to do well. Like if someone put a gun to your head and said, "Make a video that will get 1 million views," go. I think we all know inherently what kind of videos would do well. In my case, 12 Reasons Not to Move to Japan, or I Tried Every Fried Chicken. Those ones are quite easy to do. With something like Journey Across Japan, with travel videos, it's way more difficult to get views. Like people don't watch travel half as much. It's not as rapid fire. It's not as intense, right? You've got to put some more time aside for it.
Yeah.
Although that being said, I was pleasantly surprised that the first 2 episodes of Journey Across Japan did do well, flying in a plane and going to a dome house place.
Yeah.
The third one didn't do so great, but I'm not surprised by that. I think you kind of know looking at a title if it's going to do well or not before you've even begun. Yeah, it's the
Well,
sad
yeah,
truth, right?
I guess at times, like I find myself in a very, I say at times, every single upload, I find myself in a difficult position of like, how do I thumbnail it? How do I title it? Because I don't necessarily want to fall down clickbaity sort of routes on things, but at the same time, people do need to, have a reason. There is competition against who you're clicking against. But also I really hold true to myself of I'll make the videos that I want to watch. And I'll make the things that I'm personally searching for. But it does in turn make it difficult to find inspiration on things, because if I'm making the things that I want to watch because I haven't found it, then surely it means I haven't found anything that's inspiring me to make it. So it's like it's a really tricky position to be in. I don't know if you've ever had periods where you've struggled for inspiration and sort of like growing on things.
Well, I mean, the original Abroad in Japan, there wasn't anything like that at the time, right? When I started, there wasn't any British guy being sarcastic and having some sort of trying to be funny in Japan. So I had to borrow from a lot of British TV. I remember I used to watch Charlie Brooker's Scream Wipe, fantastic, like satirical commentator. He wrote Black Mirror, most famous for that now, but he did Scream Wipe and Weekly Wipe. And I wanted to sort of emulate that formula, commentating on things, being sarcastic, cynical, bitter. And try and emulate that. So that's where I borrowed my influence from. A lot of British TV, kind of British comedy TV.
Yeah.
I don't really think I've watched that many YouTube channels that have necessarily inspired me. Outside of like filmmaking, like the YouTube channels I watch, and people often ask, "What do I watch as a YouTuber?" I don't watch any videos about Japan, unsurprisingly. Never, no. I do the ones I watch are the ones that I want to be educated by, and so I watch a lot of filmmaking channels, and I watch a lot of photography channels, such as yours, of course, to learn things that I can bring into my own kind of photography and to my own sort of filmmaking.
So the photography side is actually something that's maybe a little bit sort of hidden from your view. Like you never really show your photos in your videos. But I know that you do have quite an interest in this sort of like cyberpunk style of photography.
Yeah. I think, yeah, I quite like this photo. It's been cropped a little bit, I think, for the screen, but what you can see at the top left is this massive like neon sign that's just been switched off. I was staying in Shinjuku one night and I looked out the window and I saw just the most amazing kind of, oh, there you go, just the most amazing looking scene. And I snapped it, and I quite like that photo at the time. Looking back at it, I'm not sure I do like it that much. It's all right. It's all right. There's no clear subject, which is a
Yeah.
problem, I think. But yeah, I quite like it. I've always been dissuaded with photos though, because every time I do it and I upload it on Instagram, there's always a comment where someone's like, "Oh, it's rubbish. You know, don't like it," and you think, "Oh, fuck it, I won't bother then. Just can't be
Yeah.
bothered." Like, um, it's sad but true. This was just taken on the iPhone actually in a raw format out of a window, and it's not a masterpiece, but it's a kind of cool view of Shibuya. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I've very rarely been satisfied with my photos as a photographer. I've very rarely felt like, oh, this is going to go somewhere. You know, my own fault. I don't put enough time into it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I don't. You need to really go out and spend time alone snapping
Yeah.
photos. I've always found it a little bit awkward at times, but
Well, you posted this one. I think this was back in March or April, and I love this image so much. Like this image got a lot of attention from people as well, I think, and yeah, there's
yeah.
just something about the depth to it and the time of day. Like this is, I'm assuming, like maybe 6, 7 p.m.
Yes, this was dusk in Tokyo facing Shiodome district. And I think I used an 85 or 135 millimeter lens, maybe 135.
Right.
I shot through two skyscrapers and I could see this. I think it's the Fuji TV building. I could be wrong, but it's a very Blade Runner-esque looking building because of the
Mm,
design on the right hand side and the roof, of course. But I love Tokyo for its depth. You know, you've got so many different layers, which we don't really have in London. That same kind of feel to it. I love London, but it's a little bit different. Obviously, they've got stunning architecture, um, maybe even better architecture than Tokyo. In fact, yes, it is. But Tokyo is very gritty and exciting and very multi-layered, and it's very fun to go out with like just at night and see what you can find. And if you're someone who likes cyberpunk or Blade Runner, that whole sort of genre, then it's the perfect place to take photos and
yeah, definitely.
escape to a different sort of world. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just looking through the chat here. I wonder if we can take a little bit of time to go through some of the questions. In fact, one that I've just seen here, Craig McCormick. Hey, Craig. Being creative, how do you both deal with imposter syndrome? And I feel like it's probably one of the biggest things that sort of plagues creators. I'll let you go first if that's anything you've ever experienced, or maybe you just run with it and you're like, nah, do what I want.
No, I get it all the time. You know, I get stopped in the street quite a lot in Tokyo. It can happen 10 to 12 times in one day. And you have this sort of like weird moment, like how they know who I am. I make videos in my bedroom.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, lots of people have watched them. Yeah, it can be quite odd. I used to think that TV was the holy grail, like getting on TV, and then I did it 2 or 3 times and realized it's not. I do prefer YouTube. I prefer the sort of creative control. But like, yeah,
Mm.
I do get it. I absolutely get it. I do get it, and I don't really know if there's a way around it other than just realizing that a lot of people have it, and it's a natural part of things, really, isn't it?
Yeah. I think from my perspective, I've definitely felt it a lot in the last year, massively. And I think one of the biggest things that I've struggled with imposter syndrome on stuff is the longer the gap between publishing work, the greater the effect on
Yeah,
things. Because I always end up with
stressful,
this
isn't it?
feeling of, you want to, like, the way to get through it is to just make and to just create things and to just make and to just publish.
Mm.
But when it's been a long gap, if you go and then make something and you're like, I'm just going to make something, small and whatever, that gap is just weighting down on your shoulders. And you feel like this, or you anticipate this result of someone being like, it's taken you 2 months and this is what you make. It's like, no,
Well,
I'm
yeah,
making this to get me past the fact that
yeah.
I've, struggled to feel satisfied with making things. So I think, yeah, from my perspective, just making things and making things in a run just really helps sort of like build continuous momentum and rhythm on things. I'm definitely feeling like I'm rolling with that at the moment with the videos on my channel with the JPEGs only, and
Yeah, absolutely.
it's there comes a time when quality and quantity, it's always spoken of, we prefer quality over quantity. But in order to actually achieve quality, you have to put in the quantity. There's
Yeah, yeah.
a connection between the two. Um, so yeah, it's an interesting one.
I remember in 2019, after Journey Across Japan won, and I'd put out all these videos. I was so burnt out. I didn't put out videos for like 2 months, and I was like a wreck that year. I did think my career's done. It's not going to work out. And I had three videos in a row that all bombed and did very badly. One was the Fukushima documentary. One was about mascots in Japan, which about 3 people watched, and then I had another one with my good friend Natsuki that did badly. And that sort of succession of failures made me think, oh, I'm done. Maybe that's it. And earlier that year, someone had said, every YouTuber has a peak and where it goes up and down, and you're either going up or you're going down. And I was like, oh God, I'm going down. I'm fucked. But then I made another video and that did well. And it's scary to think there might have been a point where I thought, oh, maybe it's time to call it a day on YouTube, because it's not doing well anymore. But then I had the most successful kind of year of videos yet in 2020. I was really happy with the videos, and it all flipped around. So really, yeah, you're absolutely right. If you're in a bad spot, or in creative terms, then hurry up and make something quick and get back in the game. And absolutely, there has to be a point where you sacrifice quality to just get something out there and make up for
Yeah,
that, the
definitely.
gap in between.
There's a question here about how you structure your videos and editing techniques. Do you have a particular process, a method? Do you enjoy editing, for one thing? Because I know you edit all of your stuff.
I enjoy editing cinematic sequences like the 8K Abandoned Town video we watched briefly earlier, and the Shibuya video where it's nighttime. Cinematic stuff's fun, right?
Hmm.
But a long video, it can take its toll, because for every episode of Journey Across Japan that's been coming out recently, for example, I've got 2 hours of footage. We've got 1.3 terabytes in total. And I have to sort of go through, watch through the narrative, pick out the bits I want, take that. Then I'll find some music. Over the music, I'll overlay like the B-roll and pepper it with narrative. So it's a long process and it takes time. I think it really comes down to some sequences you enjoy editing and others you don't. For example, in the upcoming video that should be coming out tonight, if I get my act together, there's a really cool sequence with the abandoned island that we've seen a few times tonight. And I loved filming that. I love recording that and editing it. It was like 2 minutes long. It's about a 2-minute portion of the video. It's the most stunning place, this abandoned island. But then the other stuff, the narrative, it's a little bit like, it's a bit of a slog to edit, and it just takes its toll. So yeah, it's a difficult thing. Editing is a really time-consuming thing. I'd say I'm an editor first and foremost before I'm a YouTuber or a cameraman or anything else. I'm an
Interesting.
editor. Yeah.
Yeah. And would you say that going forward on like future plans of making documentaries and things, are you more interested in being behind the camera and, in the production side? Or do you think you'd always want to have an element where you're in front of camera on documentaries?
It's difficult because my favorite part is being behind the camera and filming things and producing something from start to finish. Presenting, I can't say I enjoy it that much. I do it because there's no one else to do it. I can't really just conjure up someone else and just make a puppet. The presenter
Yeah.
of Abroad in Japan is bring on Dave the puppet, and from now on have him. It's actually quite good, so I'll make a note of that, Dave the puppet. But like, I don't know, and as well as I do, the person behind the camera never gets as much credit as the person in front, regardless of who's put in the work. And so, to kind of reap the benefits and the rewards of being a YouTuber, often you do need to be in front of the camera, and that's unfortunate. I do enjoy it. Clearly, I do enjoy it, but I enjoy holding a camera and filming things a lot more, and composing the cinematography, and bringing a scene together and producing a
Yeah.
video from start to finish. It's more rewarding
Yeah.
for me.
There's a question here from Keyframes. Do you think YouTube is assisting or stifling your ability to make a career as a legitimate filmmaker?
That's a good question. I think assisting.
Yep.
I know YouTube's algorithm is a little bit not great, but YouTube will take your video. Basically, when you upload a video, YouTube will look at the click-through rate and the retention rate, aka how long people are watching it for, and then it will decide if it's doing well or not. And if it's doing well, YouTube will throw it to all your subscribers, and everyone that watches your videos and is subscribed will see it, and their mum and their dog, they'll all watch it. But if a video doesn't do well in the first hour or two, YouTube goes, "Oh no, Chris has made a shit one again. Let's just promote that to like the 5 people that might want to watch it, and it like downgrades it.
Yeah.
So it's a tough thing, right? And it's a tough thing. But at the end of the day, the incredible thing about YouTube is you can produce a video. Anyone can produce a video, put it up on there, and if it starts to do well, YouTube will promote it, and people can share it. And you don't need a marketing budget to to get things going. You know, YouTube will throw your video to people that it thinks will watch it.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as you get the content right, and as long as it's got a good title and thumbnail, you've got a good chance of building your channel. And I've seen plenty of channels over the years go from 0 subscribers and 0 videos to a handful of videos and 10,000 subscribers in a very short amount of time, you know, without needing any money or marketing to actually boost it on the system. So I think that's kind of good. And I think my first short film, if and when I make it later this year, that will go on YouTube, probably on my second channel, and I'll test the waters there a little bit. But I think it's assisting for the most part. I do.
Yeah. But actually, bringing up your second channel, so that's an interesting thing. It's something I've thought about a lot. You know, of having like not like a dumping ground, but just like a space where you know, I started my YouTube channel as a way to
space.
Yeah, there we go. So I started my channel as a way to build up my sort of filmmaking knowledge and camera work and things like that. And throughout that journey, I've found directions that I want to go in and that I want to make, and then also areas that have been successful for the channel, and they sort of marry together. But there are times where you want to do other things. Like, for example, I've recently just got heavily involved with golf. I don't think making a golf video on my channel would sit very well, but at the same time, the types of things
you could
but yeah, I guess mixing travel and golf and locations would be good. But the types of things I want to watch, I haven't really found except for a channel called Random Golf Club, which is brilliant, by the way. And I want to make those sort of like cinematic, good quality narratives, not so much like the training or teaching things. But there isn't that much of it out there. So I think like I could fill that gap. But at the same time, I'm also thinking, I'm creating these hobbies. Why do I keep turning them into work? You know, why do I keep converting all of these things into video ideas and other stuff?
I think most channels that I watch do have a second channel, and it's not a dumping ground. It's kind of an experimental place. In my case, I'd always wanted to do like a cinematic video of Shinjuku and of this abandoned mining town back in March. And I'd wanted to do live streams, and just doing that on my main Abroad in Japan channel could threaten the channel. Because if you've had a string of bad videos, it can really stop YouTube from promoting your entire channel. So I thought I'd switch that around, start from scratch. And it's been great. You know, I've been willing to experiment and do videos that I would never have done on the Abroad in Japan channel. So I always say to people, go ahead and do it. You know, go ahead and make a second channel once you've got your sort of flagship channel up and running, where you're making those videos that you think are going to do well and have the big reach and connect with the brand you've built. But if you want to do something experimental, like make a second channel. I'm so glad that I did make a second channel, because I've been able to do a lot of fun things on there, and I've really been pushing that the last 6 months as well. So it could become hopefully a standalone portfolio one day of some kind of filmmaking work and some other things that I couldn't really do on the Abroad in Japan channel.
Yeah, nice.
Videos that aren't Japan. When I go to Iceland, I'm fine. It's not. I can make whatever I want, and it won't.
You
be
definitely struck gold with the name. So Abroad in Japan, you know, mixing in obviously Chris Broad. How did that come about? Did that come about quick? Was it like an overnight thing, like Abroad in Japan, I've got it, or did you hold yourself back on starting a channel until you had a name, or did the name come first? Like, what's the story there?
A friend of mine that I worked with on a jet program maintains that he came up with it, and he might well have done. Honestly, I don't remember, because I don't want him stealing it or being too happy about that, too smug. But it might have been him. I've always never really liked my name. Broad just sounds a bit rubbish. It's not a cool name like Cruz, is it? Why can't I be called Chris Cruz? Broad's a bit like it. So when he or me discovered that broad could become like a pun in this way, I was like, struck gold kind of scenario, right? I was so happy about it. Abroad, and I've used that for my second channel, which is just Chris Abroad, right?
Which you did change the name of it, right?
I did, yeah. Another friend came up with the name Abroad Perspective. It was cool, it's a cool name, but like it's also a bit long and clunky and cumbersome, and I wanted to brand it more around myself and make it more about me personally, because Abroad in Japan is fundamentally mostly about Japan. I'm just the conduit Whereas Chris abroad, I can do sort of wherever I want. It's more
Yeah.
around me. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it's a stronger name, to be honest.
Hopefully.
It kind of
Yeah,
ties
it is.
in like between the two. If you think of broad as being like the the broad aspect in the middle, you've got both wings of it. You can
Definitely.
fluctuate. Is this a video for the left channel or is this a video for the right channel? Which one
And
do
of
you want to
course,
go for?
when I move to another country one day, I can call it abroad in Taiwan or abroad in Germany or abroad in Siberia. Anything. It's great. Start a new brand.
I had a thought of this earlier today actually. Is like you could call the channel just abroad in, and then you just change the name every time you're
Could
making
do,
a series of things in different areas.
What happens if I'm in the UK though?
Abroad at home.
Abroad at home.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would work. That'll be the end. That'll be the end of the whole brand. But it's a very good point. Like, I can do that. Originally, my plan was to live in Japan 3 or 4 years, to move on to another country in Asia and sort of start all over. But that's quite a big deal. It's quite moving to Japan and learning Japanese and fitting in took long enough, and to do that all over again several times is quite hard work. So I've kind of just stuck with it. But that was the original plan, though. Abroad in XYZ, go everywhere, anywhere.
Yeah. No, I think it would work well. It would definitely definitely work across all sorts of narratives and directions and things. Chris, this has been great chatting with you. It's been great seeing the chat flowing so fast. It's gone a little bit too fast for me to read and collect on things. So I'm going to catch up afterwards with a lot of things. The intention with these live streams is that we'd have around 45 minutes or so of sort of main chat and participation and things, because I know that some people can't watch it live and they want to watch the replay, and it's a little bit daunting if you see a video that's 2 hours or so in length and you think, oh, not gonna click on that. So Chris, this has been a great stream to hang out. Thanks to everyone for joining. Apologies again for the chicken audio that really got in the way of things.
You can edit that bit out. Be fine.
If you edit it out, you lose the live chat.
Oh, you can't win, eh?
No.
Damn it. But it has been fun though, Joe, and I'm hoping when Japan finally lets people in again, hopefully November, December, can't say right now.
Yeah,
we can actually meet up and do something in person. Find me.
Yeah, definitely.
Take some photos or shoot a video together.
No, Japan is top of my list. 2020 was supposed to be my year. That was like the big strategy of making stuff for Japan, and with the Olympics and everything. And we all know how that went down. But the trajectory of things was definitely on the up, and then it's just taken a pause. But as soon as Japan allows people in and safe to do so and all that, we will absolutely maximize it, and we'd love to hang out and make some videos and go do some of the fun off the cuff stuff, like the Shinjuku night things. And
looking forward to it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But hopefully you can get over here soon. But thanks again for having me on, Joe, and thank you to you guys for coming along and watching us and chatting away. It's been a lot of fun.
No worries at all. All right, hopefully the audio doesn't screw up here on the end screen, but thanks for watching, everyone. And we'll see you soon. Cheers then. Bye bye.
Pressure.